Hello friends. So in today's video we would be looking at what is user defined scalar function, right? So as per as usual the agenda would be understanding first of all what is UDF scalar functions and then a practical demo. So first of all, what is a scalar function? So UDF scalar function returns a single data value of the type defined, right? So it's like a procedure itself, right? But it has some limitations, pros and cons. And secondly, it returns the value, right? Whenever it is called, then it is a return. It returns a value, but that can be only single value of whatever data type has been specified. Scalar function body cannot contain multi-statement can contain multi sorry it's not cannot can contain multi-statement TSQL code. Okay, scalar function body can have you can write multiple statements into the scalar function storing the values into a table variable. Of course, temp table is not possible, but you can declare a table variable or another variable and then using those values, further on for the final result sets. Return type can be any data type excluding text and text, image, cursor, and timestamp. So you cannot specify this data types as their return types. Otherwise, apart from this, you can return any type of data from the scalar function. It can accept one or more parameters, but returns only one value. It can accept multiple parameters, but it can actually return only one value. You can use if blocks and while loops into the scalar functions. Scalar function cannot update the data into the physical table, right? You cannot update any type of data into the physical table. Temp table cannot be created in scalar functions, okay? And it's possible to call a scalar function from another scalar function. So absolutely it is possible to call a scalar function into another scalar function, right? So now let us see something in action as usual, which is more important, right? So here, first of all, I'm creating a table with some records, okay? Let me use this. Okay, give me a second. Create database. Okay, let me create this table and I'm inserting some records into this. Okay, select star from employee, right? Okay, right. Now what is first of all, let us see what is the format or the syntax of scalar function. So, you need to write create, then function, and then a function name. Now, these are the input parameters. They can be anything. Now, in input parameters, you can have default parameters, you can pass table type, and so on, right? I would show you some of them. Then here, which is very important, return a data type. So you specify return statement, and then you specify the data type. Then as, and then within this begin and end SQL statement, and obviously your last statement should be return, right? So whatever variable, the last variable you might be working on, right, that would get return. So you can say return employee age, something like that, I would show you. So return with the variable. Okay. So this is a basic syntax of creating a function. So let us see first very simple function. Now what here we are going to do is, if you can see, I have some records and with date of birth, and we are going to, with the help of this function, we are going to find the age of each and every employee. Okay, so we have written the function as create a order function. Then as I shown you the name of the function, calculate employee age, and we are passing the parameter as date of birth, right? So whatever date of birth is there for each record, we are passing that. Then we are returning in integer, we are calculating the age, so we are returning the type integer as begin. And very simple, declare employee age integer, set employee age is equal to this is very simple function, date difference. Year, we are calculating year between the two dates. So as on date, the age would be calculated, and we are storing that information into this variable employee age, and then we are returning this employee. So very simple function, we have created. Okay, let me create this function. Function has been created. Where you can see this function, so go into the Object Explorer, right? Under the databases, if you can see under this databases, under programmability, under functions, under scalar value function, you can see here. Okay, you can script that and you can see what are the input parameters as well. Okay, uh, how to execute this function. So as this is a function, scalar function, we don't write select star from, right? We what write select with the schema name and the name of the function, and then we need to pass basically the date because it's actually accepting the date in a date format, right? So I'm passing here some date, and when we execute this, you can see it returns 49. Okay, so what happens? This date goes to this variable, and depending upon this variable, it calculates the date difference between year and it calculates the year between the date of birth, which is past, and today's date, right? So the answer comes is 49. Okay. So this was, if you, whenever you create a scalar function, you can stand alone, you can check this whether, you are getting the output result as required or not. Okay. Now we want, as I told you that we have this table here and we want to actually get age of each and every employee. Okay. So now how we are going to do this? Same way. Okay. But now we are actually selecting a data from the employee, and instead of passing this static value, what we are passing the date of birth from this table. Okay. So for each record, whenever first record would be read, this birth date would be passed. It would calculate the age and would return then for second row this date, third row this rate, and so on. Okay, so when you want to get the results from a scalar function from the table, then you will have to pass if it accepts the parameter, then you will have to pass the input parameter like this. So when I execute this, so you can see here now age for each employee has been calculated. Okay, now you can use this scalar function in different way, right? I have shown you how to, do a standalone checking. Then now we are actually using, clubbing this with select statement. Now you can order by this also. So currently you can see that age is not in an order. You can order by in any form, ascending or descending. The simply you will have to again use that function here, right? And pass the same date from the employee. So if you write this statement like this, you can see here the records are being arranged into the descending order of the age. Similarly, if you don't specify, then by default it would be ascending. Now when you execute this, you can see here it has been ascending order. So it is, the function, it's not that function can be used just to, served as a column or something like that. You can use this function anywhere into your query, into your select part. Okay, so here I have shown you how to use a function into order by clause. You can have a where predicate also. So now from this, if I want to find out that how many employees are there greater than age 41. Okay. So simply what I would do, I would add a where predicate here. Again, I would use the function passing the date of birth and would write need to get the result set where the whatever value is written from this function should be greater than 41. Okay. So when I execute this, you can see here only three records, right? So this way, it you can use this function in order by clause, where clause, and so on. Now let us see, what next I want to find out is, for example, if you can see here, we have designation manager, officer, and executive. So I want to find out that what is of the, average age in each category. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm getting this designation and then I am using this function, but after the result set is generated, right, on the result set, I'm, getting the average of that. And then I'm grouping that with the help of designation. So what would happen that for manager, it will show one value, for officer with one value, and for executive one value. Okay. When we execute this query, you can see. So, in manager, 55 is the average, for executive it's 40, and for officer it is 36. Right? So this way, you know, you can use your function. See, it simply, whenever you pass the input parameter, it simply actually returns the value, nothing else. Okay, got the point? So yeah, so this way you can, execute, use the function. Now why function? We didn't talk about that. See, basically you if you don't want to reuse the code, if you don't want to use the code at several places, so for example, calculation of this age is required at several places in your application, then it is always a good that you create a function, right? So that you create this function only once, and then you can use this multiple times on multiple places, right? And the second advantage would be whenever if some if you want to, now currently this is age, so that's okay. But if you have created a function with some business functionality, and down the line if that business functionality basically sorry, I had some problem in my throat today, so please bear with me. Right, so if you have some business functionality, and down the line, if that business functionality, the calculation changes, then you don't have to change those basically at all the places. So, for example, if you have used that code on 100 places, 1,000 places, then if something needs to be changed, then you will have to go down and change at all the places. Whereas if you have written the function, you will have to just change in one function, and it would get affected at all the places. Right, so this is basically a good advantage of a function. But again, scalar functions are said to be, the degrader of the queries. So basically, they had a very high performance over it. Whenever they are used, especially when you are processing a very huge volume of data. So basically, I don't say you cannot use this, but use this scalar functions very wisely. I don't know if you have, I have detailed this, how the function degrading happens, and what Microsoft has came up with the improvement on the scalar function called as an SQL UDF inlining. So I already have a video on that. If you have not seen that video, then please go to my channel and watch that video, so that you would identify, you can know that how the functions are, scalar function helps in degrading the query performance, right? Hope you have understood. This was a very basic, related to the scalar function. Hope you have understood, and try different creating different scalar functions through your own practice, so that you can understand more, right? Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you have, if you like this video, then please press the like button, and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Meet you next time with the next good topic. Till then, bye. Take care.